to make U.S. soldiers effective warfighters in close combat situations.
Here we go!
Welcome to Close Combat. I'm Sergeant First Class Randy Randolph. Coming up, we'll have all the welterweight action in the Army Championship Combatives Tournament. But first, a closer look at the modern Army Combatives program, which has evolved dramatically since the early days of hand-to-hand combat training in World War II. Now more than ever before, combatives training is relevant to the battlefield and helps save soldiers and civilians' lives.
Modern Army Combatives program is as much about developing warrior ethos and confidence and agile adaptive leaders as it is about developing fighting skills. In fact, it's more about developing people who are self-aware.
And it's always grappling with weapons, because we're always armed and they're usually armed, so grappling over weapons is what's really needed on the battlefield.
So every time you come in contact with someone, it's combative.
You get people out there, that they don't speak English. It's hard to communicate with them.
Get on the ground, sir.
And you don't know if they're friendly or if they're a bad guy, what they're trying to explain to you. And so you got to be able to control the situation without using deadly force.
Keep it good. Yep. Got
it. The basic and tactical course, what used to be the level 1 and 2, are taught out around the force in the units by their indigenous instructors. And what we do here at the Combative School is we train those instructors.
Well, I knew it would be hard, but in my brain I was like, okay, it's going to be hard, but physically when I'm out there and I'm sweating, drenched, I had no idea it'd be this physically exhausting. I have not done anything in my military career that was this physically exhausting.
As you see, each time we add something new to it and put it all together. And then the last week, we kind of incorporate everything into scenario-based training. So they'll use all the tools that they've acquired through the course, how to fight with a rifle, how to fight with a pistol, how to fight with a knife, all the importance of dominant body position put into scenario training.
They get in a predicament in training and they see that they can get out of it. They're taught how to get out of the hold or the move that someone has, or how to get up and create space so that they could, again, control a situation.
All right, sir, get your hands up. Hands up.
And from that, I said, wow, I'm not afraid now.
Get out of the vehicle, sir. Get out of the vehicle.
It makes a big difference when you go in there and you can physically grab someone and handle them and bend them to your will.
Your other hand, sir.
Without hurting them. Like I said, people see that. And they see that, you're forcing your will upon them, but that you're not abusing them.
Our soldiers go out and have life and death fights routinely. It's got to be real, because if it's not, we're going to hear about it immediately. Somebody's going to get killed.
The Army Combatives program started with a hand-to-hand combat manual issued in World War II. It's come a long way. The training is constantly evolving with feedback from downrange. Here's a look back at the history and evolution of modern Army combatives.
We've had combatives training forever. The first combatives training manual in the United States Army was written in 1852 by George McClellan when he was a captain. So we've had hand-to-hand combat doctrine since that time. But there's never been a day, at least since World War I, when we've had the average soldier actually learning anything from the program. Well, the combatives program began really back in 1995. The commander of the 2nd Ranger Battalion, which was General Stan McChrystal when he was a lieutenant colonel, he said, hey, I want to have hand-to-hand combat training in the unit. So we did what anybody else would have done. We busted out the manual and started doing what the Army doctrine said to do, and it was a big waste of time. So we went back to him and said, hey, sir, this is kind of a waste of time. And he said, well, obviously it's not hand-to-hand combat training that's a waste of time, so it must be the method that we're using to do it. So he tasked us to figure out a better way. We started looking around to various sources, martial arts training, and what other units and what other armies in the world had done. You know, strangely enough, most armies in the world don't even train, much less have effective hand-to-hand combat training. And those that do, they generally have some sort of cultural reason why it would be effective. When you teach people how to really fight and they know it's real.
Hands up, hands up!
And so I knew all along a couple things. Number one, I knew that this was useful stuff that soldiers needed to know. And number two, I knew that it would spread throughout the Army. I was a traditional martial artist for a long time, so I trained my guys back in the 80s and whatnot in the martial arts I was doing, karate and judo and whatnot. And I made the same mistakes that most every martial arts teacher in the military does. I taught those martial arts and the training methodologies and pedagogies from them to my soldiers. And I was entirely unsuccessful because those training methodologies and pedagogies, they don't fit the culture of the Army. They don't fit the reality of how much time you have to dedicate to it, who's motivated to do it, etc. When I started doing this method, it worked immediately. The boys really learned how to fight, and they knew it, and they were fired up about it. And then it started spreading, you know, from that squad to that platoon, to the company, to the battalion, to the brigade, and it was obvious. Show somebody something that's real, they know it's real, they get fired up about it. So I'm learning how to fight, it's life-changing.
We've seen the practical combat applications of combatives. Coming up,
see Army combatives training at work in the welterweight finals.
First thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over drill 1, which consists of 3 different moves. It covers the arm push and roll, where the man on the bottom is trying to improve his position, and he will trap his opponent's arm and his leg and roll him into what is considered the guard position. Now his opponent has him in the guard. Now the next move is he's going to try to escape the guard and go to side control. Here he's in side control, and his next move will be to achieve the mount. And after he's done that, you'll see that he's gone from the man on the bottom to the man on the top. He's improved his position each time. And now he's in a position to win the fight or finish the fight. Level 1, again, is all about improving their position. So we'll go off of the same thing that we talked about in the first drill, off of the arm trap and roll. So the opponent on the bottom, he tries to do the arm trap and roll based on what the opponent on top is doing. But the opponent on top sees it coming. So as he does that, he creates space, and this gives the man on the bottom the ability to move out. And what he's done is he has shrimped through that space into the guard. Now he's going to go from the guard, and he can finish the fight in 3 ways. All right, he can either apply a choke here, apply an arm bar, or sweep to the mount. In each position, he's either finished the fight or he's improved his position to a place where he can finish the fight.
I'm Van Stokes, here with Matt Larson, Director of the Army Combatives Program. Matt, you were ringside at the annual Army Combatives Championship. Tell us why this competition is so important to the Army Combatives Program.
Well, a successful combatives program needs a motivational tool, a way to get people to train hard. And you can see through competition, it's the very best way, just from the level of these fighters. They wouldn't be this good if there wasn't this sort of thing going on in our program.
So the old adage is true. We will fight as we train. Let's meet our welterweight fighters. Jason Quast and Anthony Ogden competed for the bronze medal. Let's hear their strategies going into this welterweight consolation fight.
Make his smile look like mine.
Most of these guys are wrestlers, and you know, they love that wrestling background. Just take you down, hold, stall. So my plan is to keep it up on their feet. We're gonna kick, box, fill them out. see how he reacts to punches. Has he ever been punched? Then if he starts shooting, then we're gonna have to defend the takedown and stay away from his comfortable side.
It's cool, it's kind of stressful, actually, because, you know, everyone expects you to do well, and it's in front of your peers more than anything, and, you know, you want to be known amongst your peers as the man to beat.
If he feels comfortable putting me on my back, then I want to keep him away from his comfortable. I want to put him in an uncomfortable zone, make him feel like, oh wow, I never been here, I wasn't expecting this, and what I'm gonna do now. So hopefully the tables will be on my side.
So Jason Quast was right to the point, Matt. He said, I want to make his smile look like mine. In your opinion, good strategies from each of the combatants?
Well, Quast is a very experienced fighter. He's our two-time champion. He's coming back now fighting for third or fourth. He's very resourceful. He's got a lot of things going to him. I think Akun's going to have to really come with something to take this one.
So Ogden is going to have a little bit of a search and then seize, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Well, we will see. Let's get to the action. Jason Quast in the red belt, and his opponent, Anthony Ogden, from the Army National Guard in Guam in the blue belt. Quast representing Fort Bragg, North Carolina, home of the 82nd Airborne Division. Quast goes in quickly. Goes from that single leg right up to that full body hug as they go over into the corner.
Looks like Ogden's got some good hips, very hard to take down.
Quast a bit on the aggressive right now. Wants to bring his opponent, Ogden, back to the center of the ring if he can. And again, a lot of dancing. They separate and then go back to some striking opportunities.
Quast has got some good judo skills he's shown in the preliminary bouts, and you can see here the interplay between striking skills and takedowns. I wouldn't be too surprised to see something happen quickly. Wouldn't have expected that.
I mean, that's hardly a takedown. You saw Quast quickly go to that wrap, and then Ogden gently lowering him to the mat.
Well, he must feel like his ground skills are better to go there. I think probably a mistake. Ogden has shown some good skills as well, and I don't think this is going to work out the way Quast thought it would.
Well, Quast, fortunately, he held those hands, held those arms in, neutralized those forearms, and now kicks his way out of it and comes back to the standing position. He got out of that in pretty good shape, did he not?
He did. I think really Ogden backed up and wanted to stand up on his feet again. So
Ogden's a bit of a swinger. You can see the roundhouses from both the right and left hand. No contact made, however. Big uppercut. Follows it right back up with a quick combination.
In his pre-fight strategy, he said he wanted to keep it on his feet. And I think that's where he's wanting to be now.
Well, Quast has the single leg trip and has the top position. But again, not a lot of combat taking place. Not a lot of striking. Not a lot of blows.
It's emerging now that Quast wants it to be a ground fight and Ogden wants it to be a stand-up fight. So which one is going to be able to impose their will, we'll see.
This is a welterweight bout. Again, weight classes goes up to how many pounds here in welterweight, Matt?
Well, the males in the welterweight go up to 155 pounds.
And we don't see a lot of women. There you see a quick strike. We don't see a lot of women in this particular weight class. In fact, the higher we go, the fewer women you probably see.
That's exactly right. I mean, the amount of women who weigh in at these higher weight classes. Remember, they get a percentage weight overage. So at 155. The female could be weighing up over 165. So as we get to the higher weight classes, there's just fewer and fewer soldiers at those sizes.
Quast starting to get active now, delivering some striking blows to the head of Ogden.
He's almost mounted. He's working a bit of an arm triangle there, maybe. It looks like he's out of that. Ogden's doing a good job with his hips. Like they're going to put him back in the center of the ring now.
Now, the referee's going to give him a certain amount of time on the mat, and then if there's no action imminent, he brings them back to their feet.
That's true, and he also wants to keep them away from the edge of the arena. You don't want your fighters coming out of the arena.
Ogden's blue belt came off, and so the referee tossed that to the side. As Quas remains in the top position, tries to deliver those body blows.
I think Ogden made a mistake there, letting his hips go. I'm trying to turn him over. But he recovered.
And Quast has got Ogden pretty much in control from the top position. Although Ogden tries to neutralize him as best he can with that guard.
I think at this point nobody's really damaging the other fighter, and they're fighting pretty neutral. Although Quast is the aggressor, he's the top fighter. So
Jason Quast out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, refuses to let Ogden back up to his feet.
Landed some pretty good blows there, yeah, as he came around the legs. And it looks like Quas went for the back mount there and failed to get that far hook, and now we see the roles reversed. Hawkins showing some good skill, bringing that first leg through. Let's see if he can free the next one up or raise up and land some blows.
There you see the pounding of the mat, signifying there's 10 seconds remaining in the first period between these two combatants. And Quas not jumping to his feet because he realizes it's the end of the round.
Very difficult round to call there. Quas seemed to be losing while they're on their feet, but spent most of the ground game on the top. But Ogden reversed it there at the end and did some good work himself. A very close round.
Well, the scoring system is what you call a 10-point must system. Explain that, Matt.
That's right. Each of the 3 judges has to score 10 points on each round for the fighter they thought won the round. And then they score the other person 9, 8, 7, depending upon how dominant they thought they were. You can see the Guam team there. Guam, one of the perennial favorites, comes in with a really tough team every year. Imagine that's the Guam National Guard going up against Fort Bragg with 40,000 soldiers, and all these various large posts around the Army. They really do a good job out there.
Well, these posts, they can be small, they can medium, they can be large or extra large type installations. And Fort Bragg, North Carolina, certainly one of the top installations in the Army in terms of size. And in order to get here, you've got to be the best in Fort Bragg, which means you have to beat several people along the road.
That's right. And like I said, Jason Quas has come here several times. He represented Fort Bragg one year and Special Forces team one year. Very, very tough competitors.
Matt, as you've watched these competitors through the years, have you actually seen them grow in terms of skill and strength, and then accordingly has their confidence level risen as well? And do you see that experience carried forward?
One thing you definitely see is people who've been champions in the past getting eclipsed in the years as the level in the entire Army goes up. So this is a good example. Quas is the 2-time champion this year, fighting for 3rd and 4th.
And that's a good point. But that's a principle of sports and competition overall. I mean, it's harder to stay number one than it is to become number one sometimes.
It's true, and since this is a relatively new thing.
Nice kick and nice drop to the mat by Quast. He kind of countered off that, did he not?
Yeah, and he's past the guard on the way. That's takedowns in this game are an interplay with the other things. Striking skills mixed in with it. Ooh, you see him landing those knees in there.
He's pretty much controlled the shoulders of Ogden, which prevents him from delivering any striking blows. And now Quast is in the position to use his knees if he wishes.
And watch Quast using that shoulder to strike with as well. That way he can maintain his control with his arm and still land blows.
Quick blow to the head by Jason Quast. So you have literally seen Army combatives grow through the years, not just in size, but in quality as well.
Well, Army combatives started in 1995 with one 9-man squad, and now with 1.2 million people and level going up every year, it's really remarkable.
Over 450 competitors entered this competition here in Fort Benning, Georgia.
And each of those had to be a champion someplace else. So I was out at Fort Hood, for example, and they had their championships. There were 40,000 soldiers on Fort Hood, and they sent a 16-man team, the 16 best fighters out of 40,000.
That is no small accolade.
Look, he's working a Thought he might be going for the arm triangle, but Ogden seems to have got out of it.
He pulled that right arm out, did Quast. So Jason Quast spending a lot of time in that top position, refusing to let Anthony Ogden out from the bottom spot.
He's doing a much better job of landing blows from side control than we've seen some of the other people in the tournament do. Some of his maturity of having been here a lot of times.
Ooh, quick strike to the head from the right hand of Jason Quast. Quast has those hands wrapped. He has really neutralized his opponent, Anthony Ogden.
Work on an arm lock here, and that's it.
That is it. That is it. Quast got the arm lock, rolled back, and Ogden said, that's enough.
Yeah, I think those blows from side control were just too much for him. He lost his guard, or put down his guard a little bit, and Quast took advantage.
So, Jason Quast waited for his moment, and he got it.
The winner by submission, to armbar, wearing the red belt, representing Fort Bragg, Jason Quast.
Jason Quast, our winner of the bronze medal in this welterweight division. He game planned his bout in a really strategic way and then waited for his move, his opportunity, Matt, and took the best of it.
That's right, and you really got to give a hand out to Anthony Akun. You know, the Guam team has come on hard. I think this is the first time they've put people in the finals, as tough as they've been.
Where'd you see the turning point in that match?
Well, when the second round came out, Quast decided he was going to be the top guy if he passed the guard. From in the guard, he wasn't that effective, but as soon as he was past it, he put it on him.
He put it on him, and he got the bronze medal. Well, let's hear from our winner.
Good match. So how'd you get that armbar on the end there?
Just enough shots on goal is what wins hockey games, and I figured I hit him enough. He's going to want to defend his face because you don't want to get a smile that looks like mine. And so he gave me an arm, and I just took it and got the victory that way.
All right, any shout-outs?
Nah, just everybody who's here watching us, man. Everybody here's performing their best in front of their peers. A lot of pressure up here. You need to look like a warrior whether you win or you lose. That's the hardest thing in the world to do sometimes. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Congratulations. Back to you.
So, Matt, he talked about pressure. He said there's a lot of pressure up there. Do you see the pressure in these combatants as they enter the ring?
Well, they actually handle it pretty well. And, you know, the pressure he's talking about is just the pressure to perform for his friends and his fellow soldiers back in his unit.
Well, if you can handle the pressure here, it should carry forth to the battlefield. Coming up later in the show, we'll be back with all the action from the gold medal fight in the welterweight class. Stick around for Close Combat.
The other things that we cover in week 1 of the basic instructor course is boxing. So what we'll have now is we'll have demonstrators put on the gloves and the pads, and we'll go through some of the things that we teach in boxing. Okay, in boxing we teach them 4 basic punches, and we put those punches in combinations, kind of like drills. All right, we begin by teaching them the jab, and we teach them the cross, the hook, and the uppercut. And we put these in combinations. We have combinations 1 through 5. All right, combo 1. Combo 2. Combo 3. Combo 4. And combo 5. These become drills that they can continually train on and continually practice, not just here in the gym, but wherever they're at.
Combatives training is intense. It's a physically demanding workout that strengthens both the body and mind. Fighters learn to anticipate their opponent's next move and build confidence to control any situation.
It builds up your confidence. Some of the drills that we do, you'll take a punch to the face, let you know that you can fight through it.
For the most part, it's definitely very good for a soldier, airman, or anybody like that to know how to defend themselves. Because if they're alone, if their ammo runs out, there's lots of different scenarios where they would need to know how to defend themselves.
Get out of the vehicle, sir.
It's important to train the new soldiers coming into the Army that they're going to be in harm's way, but they need to be prepared for it.
We want to instill the warrior ethos, and that into everyone. And so we don't let someone quit. We keep pushing them to keep driving forward and getting better. And then that's the confidence that they get. Okay, they didn't quit. They kept going. And then they kind of break through them barriers that they had before. And that's what we're about here.
If it ever has to come down to it, I'll know how to react if a soldier or an enemy combatant comes in behind me or to the front. I'll be able to know how to shake them off or get some type of control on an enemy where I'm now in positive control and keeping the enemy on the ground.
Every time we teach a class and we talk about different things, the different techniques, I'll try to give an example of what happened or an incident that happened using that technique. And without fail, I always have one of the soldiers, raise his hand and say, hey, I was in a similar environment or a similar event, and I was able to use that same type of technique.
It actually raised my confidence a lot because I was intimidated by a lot of the guys, especially this class. I'm the only female, so it gets me stronger actually.
If the air crew gets, put in a hostage situation, POW, anything like that where they need to get out, they have a baseline of how to get out. It's not if you have a weapon or you may not be 100% or you may not even be skilled. It's just quick moves and how to basically help yourself.
The situations that I did come in contact, I didn't have the combatives training, and I struggled a lot more to control those people because I didn't know the techniques that I've learned in level 1 and 2 so far that really show you how to control somebody.
Get out of the vehicle, sir. Let's go. Get out of the vehicle.
We have after-action reviews of 1,500 to 2,000 different instances where M4 or a long gun was basically taken out of the fight, and a soldier had to defend himself using his hands or his feet. Had they not gone over there with the tools that we teach them, some of those soldiers wouldn't be coming back today. So just based on the experiences that we've learned in the last 9-10 years of war over there, we've learned that yes, hand-to-hand combat is something that is very needed in today's Army.
We've seen how the Army trains, but what about the rest of the services? Up next, a look at the Marine Corps and Air Force Combatives program. Plus, we're ringside for the welterweight championship fight in the Army Combatives Tournament, here on Close Combat.
All right, in week 2, we introduce Muay Thai boxing. All right, when we do that, we'll teach them kicks from the rear leg, which we call a 10. And then we teach them kicks from the front leg, which is a switch 9 or a step 9. And we'll go ahead and add these kicks into our combos that we've already taught them. Go ahead, do combo 1.
Welcome back to Close Combat, a series on the Army's and other services combatives training. Here's a look at the Marine Corps Martial Arts Program, or MCMAP, which traces its roots back to the trench fighting of World War I.
The focus is on emphasizing the complete development of Marine warriors.
Next thing we got is controlling techniques.
From day one, when the Marines come in, they essentially start from the basics, going over the tan belt, gray belt fundamentals. Essentially, from there, we're going to teaching them different techniques.
Like this. Come here.
The physical discipline is the training and the honing of our martial skills, our combative skills, along with the combat conditioning that's essential to apply this warrior trade.
We're going to teaching them different techniques.
Shoulder throw, hip throw, counter to the knife. Just different techniques you can use downrange that you don't get day-to-day basic training.
Through the Marine Corps Martial Arts Program, we're seeing Marines that are physically and mentally fit, they're physically and mentally tough, they're able to handle the challenges of today's modern battlefield, and they're doing it in superb fashion.
This whole course is pretty demanding, but as long as you got the mindset that you're going to complete it and do what is asked of you, you should get through it. It's pretty painful, but pain is just weakness leaving the body. So.
Just as each service has a different mission, each branch has a different approach to hand-to-hand combat. The Air Force has adopted its own program based on modified Army combatives training.
All right, first thing we're gonna do is go over the fight stance this morning. You're down, bring it through, you're right here. Shield up. Everybody say shield up. Shield up.
Everything that we teach is on the ground. It gives them the sense that if they find themselves in a hostile situation, what is easy to learn, and can I defend myself if I find myself in that situation?
Hands up! I can hear you now!
Airmen are on the ground outside the fence in today's joint expeditionary Air Force doing things and finding themselves in positions that they may not have found themselves in a couple decades ago, or even a few years ago. So this is tremendously important to be able to at least have a basis from which to know how to defend themselves.
All right, reset.
Position before submission.
A lot more intense than I expected it to be. I thought from what I'm used to, my past experiences told me that when we came out here on day one, it would be kind of by the numbers. They taught us what we needed to know, and then we got to apply it.
His legs are always up.
You say leg like a belt, foot like a hook. Say it.
Leg like a belt, foot like a hook.
If you fall back holding your elbow, you're not going to break an arm by accident. In this class, we only break arms on purpose.
Definitely demanding. It's a little bit tougher than a regular PT regimen because it's a full body workout. You're constantly on the go, you learn new things, have to try new things. Technique is very big, so you're trying to learn technique but also master the moves at the same time.
All right, you see how he's able to pull you in like that?
Yes, sir.
When we say good core power punch?
Yes, sir.
That way when he tries to pull you, you're right there.
When we deploy, we're prepared with a skill set that if in the event we have to engage the enemy at close quarters battle, that if our weapon jams or if they close the distance where we can't use our primary weapon, that we also have another tool to defeat the enemy.
Don't go anywhere. Up next, the welterweight gold medal fight in the Army Championship Combatives Tournament, here on Close Combat.
All right, all the skills that we teach them in the first 3 weeks are to get them ready for combat. One of the drills that we do for this is called the 2-on-1 drill. All right, we never try to attack an opponent by ourselves if we can help it. Okay, so what we do here is we have 2 demonstrators in their kit, and we have a bad guy here. The bad guy is going to try to attack them, all right, while they're trying to control the situation. And they'll finish the fight, put him in a position to cuff him up and take him back to the fob.
Feet. The arm. Good. Down. Down. Down.
Many of these moves become more difficult as they're doing it with their combat equipment on. So we have to spend time practicing it with our combat equipment on so that we know what works, what moves that we can do with them on, how we can get around our own weapons, get our weapons out of the way so we can apply the different techniques.
All right, secure.
I'm Van Stokes, back with Matt Larson. Now, for the final fight in the welterweight class, let's meet our competitors. Marcus Daniels and Trey Robbins fought for the championship title. Let's hear what they had to say leading up to this welterweight fight.
It's a big boost to my confidence, but as far as that, I already knew that I could be here. I've always wanted to be here. 3 years ago when I started MMA, I started MMA just because I like to fight. You know, I'm just one of those tough guys. I like to fight, but I'm also, I call myself a student of the game because I love to learn from everybody. Even the people that like do taekwondo and kicks to the, all that kind of stuff. I love to learn from people because all of it applies.
I'm a competitor, so I have heart and I have drive to win. I didn't come out here to lose. I've dieted, I've trained hard. I put in 5 to 10 miles a day, I was committed to win this tournament. I didn't come out here to lose, so.
I'm a stand-up fighter. I'm not a jiu-jitsu guy. I'm not a grappler. I'm a stand-up fighter. I like to fight. I wanna punch him to the point where he gives up and he makes a mistake, and then I'll take him to the ground and use my jiu-jitsu and my combatives to stay on top of him and ground and pound. And that is my strategy.
I'm just gonna try to keep it on the feet. I'm comfortable on stand-up round. I'm comfortable on my back. I'm comfortable on top game. I'm pretty all around. When I say mixed martial arts, I'm mixed martial arts. So I came down here to win.
Wow, Matt, you've got two competitors, very confident, very strong, a lot of passion, committed. They both came to win. What do you see in this bout?
Well, they both had to get here through a grappling tournament, so I'm pretty sure both of them have good skills there. A lot of times this round comes to who can transition and has a better stand-up game. Daniels was talking about that, so we'll see what he's got.
He's got the passion, they have the commitment, they have the desire. Let's get to the action and see what they bring to the ring. Marcus Daniels with the red belt from Fort Drum, New York, and Trey Robbins with the blue belt representing Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And you talked about the commitment, you talked about the passion, and certainly the opportunity to learn as you go along. And right now, they both bring a decent level of respect, one for the other in the ring.
Well, you can see it as they're dancing around, feeling each other out. Robbins is coming from the Fort Bragg team. That's a former championship team as well, and there's a lot of good experience and knowledge on that team, so we'll see what he's got.
Daniels the first to move in, tries to get a striking blow, but very quickly Trey Robbins wraps him up as they go into the red corner.
You'll often see that the guy who wants to be the striker doesn't get a chance to, because to be the aggressor, you have to give the guy, you have to come close, which gives the grappler what he wants.
Daniels tries to get the upper body turn. Doesn't get there. And Trey Robbins does a pretty good job of neutralizing him, pressing him against the corner, and now over against the ropes. Now, can you use those ropes to an advantage?
No, you're not allowed to grab the ropes. Really, they're just there to keep you inside the arena. So you can see the guys on the outside sometimes maneuvering the ropes to keep them in the way. It's just a safety factor. Looks like they're going to move them out to the center of the arena.
When the concern, the overriding concern, becomes safety, i.e. sliding out underneath the ropes, that's when the referee will bring it back to the center of the mat. But they will resume once again with the person who was on top near the edge coming back to the center. He will also be on top again.
That's right. You don't want the out of bounds line or the edge of the mat to be a factor in who wins the fight. You really want it to be about who the better fighter was. You see Robbins trying to climb his opponent, stay on top there.
He's got that belly to back situation.
He's done a pretty good job of maintaining good position in the clinch here. It had the, looks like he's Daniels trying for a leg attack there.
Tries to get that spin out and reversal.
Looking for a guillotine choke.
He's got a good wrap around the neck. He has
Robbins
the
is
guard.
tapping.
Oh, and he taps out. He got the choke. Got the choke. Learned as he went along, took advantage of the opportunity, and gets the tap out. There's a good look at it. And the choke's in. And Trey Robbins says, I'm tapping out of this.
Submission by guillotine, representing Fortra, Marquis Daniel.
Marcus Daniels wins the gold medal in the welterweight division as a result of a submission. As he gets the gold medal draped around his neck. Matt, he waited for his opportunity, he took advantage of it, and he was calm, cool, collected, executed very nicely.
That's right. It wasn't a very long fight, and I actually was thinking that Robbins was dominating positionally. He was hitting the takedowns. It seemed like he was getting the fight he wanted. And Daniels just saw his opportunity, seized it, ended it.
Well, Daniels talked about being a learner right up front. He talked about having passion. What do you think he learned from Robbins that enabled him to sink that guillotine?
You know, it's a lot of times it's a game of taking advantage of mistakes. I think he just saw a mistake and took advantage, and that's that.
He took advantage, and he walks away with the gold medal here in the welterweight division. Well, Matt, let's talk about the tournament. You've seen this tournament for a number of years now. How has it evolved?
Mostly it's evolved by getting bigger and the level of competition getting harder. The soldiers that are showing up now, they've been training for years. They're very, very experienced. And you can see it in the arena, the various things that go on.
You see it in the ring, and you see it around the arena as well. It's grown in quantity, and it's grown in quality. Thanks, Matt. Well, congratulations to Marcus Daniels for winning the gold medal in the welterweight division. For Matt Larson and our entire broadcast crew, I'm Van Stokes. We'll see you next time on Close Combat.
Here we go.